A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki founder Acharya ISKCON ki Samaveta ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Sri Guru, Sri Guru, all glories. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, chapter 13, which is entitled Brahma Stealing the Boys and Calves. Text number 63. Utayotaya Krishnasya
Utayotaya Krishnasya Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna.
Well, we know this challenge that nobody writes the shloka. Anybody would like to volunteer that they can write shloka every day, please? Mais was doing it. Mais does it sometimes. Mais doesn't do it sometimes, so it's quite difficult. Anybody? We can find a solution now. Just writing shloka on the board. Oh, go on, Prabhu. Thank you. We'll put you on the WhatsApp group and you can follow the shloka. Thank you very much. Sorry, Hridaya Caitanya Prabhu. We are Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. We're getting our tent delivered this morning. My wife is waiting for the truck to come just in case if we need hands. Maybe some boys will go. We ordered our own tent for the weddings. So it's arriving. My wife is waiting for the truck to be so that we might need few hands.
It's a big one.
Yeah, 270 square meters.
200 square meter.
270.
China.
Yeah. New Zealand temple bought it. One of my godbrothers, so they recommended it. Good reviews in Europe. Any luck, Prabhu? Or we just continue?
Some technical difficulties.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. I'll check on that, or else we can just continue. Okay, any luck? Okay.
I can read something from the Nectar of Devotion. When a devotee is always intensely affected by love for Krishna in a direct relationship with him, or even a little apart from him, his status is called existential ecstatic love. The symptoms originating from such existential ecstatic love are divided into 3 headings, namely moist, burned, and dried up. Moist existential ecstatic love aroused in relation to connection with Krishna is divided into 2, direct and indirect.
Je récupère ma fille. Alors j'étais pas été assez clair, donc je vais le répéter. Je veux qu'on ait...
Radharani was weaving a garland of kunda flowers, and upon hearing the vibration of Krishna's flute, she immediately stopped her work. This is an example of direct, moistened, existential, ecstatic love. Indirect, moistened, existential, ecstatic love is described in the following statement. Krishna, who is also called Purushottama, is to the eyes of Mother Yasoda just like the cloud is to the eyes of the Chataki bird. When Krishna had been brought to Mathura, Mother Yasoda, being very anxious and angry, began to rebuke the king of Mathura. Burnt existential ecstatic love is divided into 3. And one example is as follows. One day, Mother Yashoda was dreaming that a gigantic demon, Putana, was lying on the courtyard of her house, and she immediately became anxious to seek out Krishna. When there are manifestations of ecstatic symptoms in the body of a non-devotee, these are called dried up symptoms of ecstatic love. The non-devotees are actually materialistic, but in contact with some pure devotee, they sometimes may manifest some symptoms of ecstasy. Devotional scholars call these dried up symptoms. Faltering of the voice. When Krishna was going to Mathura on the chariot driven by Akrura, Yashoda and all the gopis came to try to forbid him to pass and to block his way. At that time, Radharani was so perturbed that in a faltering voice, she requested Mother Yashoda to please stop Akrura. Faltering of the voice resulting from wonder was exhibited by Brahma. It is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 13th chapter, verse 64, that's the verse of tomorrow, that after bowing down before Lord Krishna, when Brahma began to rise, he prayed to the Lord in a faltering voice. In the 10th canto, 29th chapter, verse 30, another example of faltering of the voice was exhibited by the gopis when they came to Krishna desiring to dance with him. Krishna asked them to go back to their husbands and homes.
It's ready.
Oh, it's tough. So Krishna asked them to go back to their husbands and homes, and the gopis apparently became very angry and began to talk to Krishna with faltering voices. Hare Krishna. Uttayottaya Krishnasya Chirasya Padayo Patam Aste Mahitvam Pragdristam Smritva Puna Puna Uttayottaya Krishnasya Chirasya Padayo Patam Aste Mahitvam Pragdristam Smritva Puna Uttayottaya Krishnasya Chirasya Padayo Patam Aste Mahitvam Pragdristam Smritva Puna
Uttayottaya Krishnasya Chirasya Padayo Patam Aste Mahitvam Pragdishtam Smritva Puna Uttayottaya Krishnasya Chirasya Padayo Patam Aste mahitvam prakrishtam.
Aste mahitvam prakrishtam.
Smritva smritva punah punaha.
Smritva smritva punah punaha.
Uttaya Krishnasya
Uttaya Krishnasya
Shivasya Padayo Patan
Shivasya padayo patam
Astimaidvam Pragristam
Aste mahitvam prakrishtam
Vidvas Vidva Puna Puna
Smritva smritva punah punaha. Uttaya Krishnasya Shivasya padayo patam Aste mahitvam prakrishtam Smritva smritva punah punaha. Uttaya Krishnasya Shivasya padayo patam Aste mahitvam prakrishtam Smritva smritva punah punaha.
Uttaya, Uttaya,
Uttaya,
rising repeatedly.
rising repeatedly.
Krishnasya,
Krishnasya,
of Lord Krishna.
of Lord Krishna.
Chirasya,
Shivasya,
for a long time.
for a long time.
Padayo,
Padayo,
of the lotus feet.
of the lotus feet.
Patam,
Patan,
falling down.
falling down.
Aste,
Aste,
remain.
remain.
Mahitvam,
Mahitvam,
the greatness.
the greatness.
Pragdristam,
Pragristam,
which he had previously seen.
which he had previously seen.
Smritva, Smritva,
Smritva, smritva,
remembering and remembering.
remembering and remembering.
Puna, Puna,
Punah, punah,
again and again.
again and again.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki
Jai.
Rising and falling again and again at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna for a long time, Lord Brahma remembered over and over the Lord's greatness he had just seen. Please repeat. Rising and falling again and again.
Rising and falling again and again.
At the lotus feet of Lord Krishna.
At the lotus feet of Lord Krishna.
For a long time.
For a long time.
Lord Brahma remembered over and over.
Lord Brahma remembered over and over.
The Lord's greatness.
The Lord's greatness.
He had just seen.
He had just seen.
As stated in one prayer, Srutim apare smritim itare, Bharatam anye bhajantu bhava bita, aham iha nandam vande, yashalinde param brahma. Let others study the Vedas, Smriti and Mahabharata, fearing material existence. But I shall worship Nanda Maharaj, in whose courtyard is crawling the Supreme Brahman. Nanda Maharaj is so great that the Para-Brahman is crawling in his yard, and therefore I shall worship him. In this case, when it says I shall worship him, it means Nanda Maharaj. This is from Padyavali 126. Brahma was falling down in ecstasy because of the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who exactly resembled a human child. Brahma was naturally astonished. Therefore, with a faltering voice, he offered prayers, understanding that here was the Supreme Person. Namo Vishnudaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Jnana Ste Saraswati Devi Gauruvana Pachani Devi Sasanyavani Paschatari Sata. So here we are in the second last verse of the purports written by verses translated and the purports written by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And then later it will be continued by his disciples upon his instruction. That's why Srila Prabhupada, not knowing when he started the movement how long he would live, he first made sure that Bhagavad Gita was printed and Nectar of Devotion and a few other books. And of course he had started with the Srimad Bhagavatam already in India before he came to the West. But Srila Prabhupada was able to complete the Srimad Bhagavatam up to the 10th canto, 13th chapter, and then there are many chapters which are translated and purports are written based on the previous purports Prabhupada had written in line with his teachings. So, and as we know, these books are meant to become the law books for humanity for the next 10,000 years. So Prabhupada's contribution is not something that can easily be measured. It's very the quality of Srila Prabhupada's teachings will rise by its own over time. It will take time, but Srila Prabhupada's books are already spread all over the world, but they will be given much more importance over time, because it takes time for the people to understand the importance of a spiritual master like Srila Prabhupada. It takes time to understand for the people that Krishna consciousness is not just a sect or a particular religion that gives one point of view. It takes time for the people to understand that Krishna consciousness is a science, and is over and above some personal view of some people. That it takes very much time. We can see the movement is now more than 50 years, and only a very small fraction of the population of this earth understands the importance of Srila Prabhupada's books. But these books, they are not diminishing their value in time. On the contrary, because they are spiritually scientific. They are the absolute truth written down in books. That's why they are so exceptional in this world, and they will be, in due course of time, valued according to how they should be valued. So in this particular verse, Lord Brahma, it explains that Lord Brahma is rising and falling again and again at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna for a long time. And Lord Brahma remembered over and over the Lord's greatness he had just seen. So when Lord Brahma came back very shortly, at least for his time in the higher planets, it was very short. On earth it was 1 year that between his two visits, because he came to take away, he came to test Krishna. He wanted to manifest this mystical power, and he wanted to show off his greatness to that little boy, although he knew that that little boy was special. But some or other, he, for whatever sake, for his, he wanted to show Krishna his mystic power, and so some or other, he was bewildered about his own power. Although Lord Brahma is a very powerful person, we should not underestimate the power of the creator of the universe, of this universe. But compared to Krishna, it's very small. And that was already manifested in the other pastime when he announced himself at the gates of Vaikuntha, and I wanted to see Lord Vishnu. Then he was very surprised that they came back and said, which Brahma are you? So that was already like a smash for his false ego, so to say. Because, what do you mean? I'm Lord Brahma, and why are you asking which Lord Brahma? So until the time when Lord Krishna showed him that there are so many Lord Brahmas with so many heads, up to thousands of heads, then that he was just one small Lord Brahma out of many, many. So then that was also, he got some realization from that also. So from this pastime also, Lord Brahma got some realization. So then when he came back from the spiritual world after a split second of, because he was very eager to see how the cowherd boys and the calves and the gopas were doing, and how Krishna was doing after he had taken away all the cows and the calves. He expected that Krishna would be wondering what's happening, that he would be bewildered. But Krishna was not bewildered, and so he wanted to bewilder Krishna, but the person who became bewildered was Lord Brahma. He is the one who became bewildered. So then basically Lord Brahma was defeated by his own attempt to bewilder the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada, he uses that opportunity in the purpose to explain, just as the scientists and philosophers, they want to overcome the mystic power of the Lord. And they challenge the Lord. Well, what is God? We can do this, we can do that. We don't need God. But the more they challenge Krishna in this way, the more they become implicated in the material energy and in the suffering. Because when one plays with the material energy, there is a reaction. It's material creation, material world is made like that. There is always action and reaction. So if one misinterprets, mistakes this life, then one has to go through a lot of distress and suffering. So the lesson we should learn, and that Lord Brahma should learn, is that he should not endeavor to surpass the Lord. And we should also not endeavor to surpass the Lord, or to be the Lord ourselves, or to try to play little lords ourselves. Because that tendency is within us. And we should basically surrender to the Lord. That is the most natural way. And that's also what Lord Brahma did. So that's why instead of Lord Brahma defeating Krishna, Brahma was defeated by Krishna. Not in a big competition or something, just naturally. Lord Krishna didn't have to go out of his way or leave his pastime with the cowherd boys and now put all his attention to the fight with Lord Brahma to make Lord Brahma understand that he was, he had a misconception. No, it went by itself. Because Lord Brahma took the boys and calves, put them somewhere by his mystical power in a grot, and Lord Krishna immediately expanded himself in the cowherd boys and the calves, and the pastime went on. It became even more enhanced, the pastime, because the children became more attractive to their parents. The calves became more attractive to the cows. The cows were running after their calves when they saw the calves from distance. Before, they wouldn't run to their calves. They would just wait until the calves come home to them. But in this case, because for 1 year, they were so attractive, these calves, to the cows, that the cows immediately ran. Like the cows, when they run very fast, they run with their legs like a horse also, with their legs together. So the fore legs together and the back legs together, and then they go very fast. And that's how they ran. That's how the mother of the calf ran towards the calf because she wanted the calf to drink her milk. She was so eager because it was it had become for 1 year a very special calf. Because it was non different from Krishna, that calf. And the cowherd boys were non different from Krishna. That's why their parents were so attracted to them. Got so much energy and eagerness to serve them. So simply for the Lord was a very simple thing. But Lord Brahma, when he came down after a split second being away and come to see what happened, he was stunned. He was out of his element. He didn't know what to think, what to He is the most intelligent entity of this universe, but his wife is Saraswati, knowledge of learning, but he didn't know what to think about this situation. I put them there in the grot. Did Krishna now take them back or double them, or what? Or did Krishna? So it was very. Even Lord Brahma, although this pastime happened on the day of Lord Brahma's birthday, so Lord Brahma was not there when the cowherd boys and the cows were taken, because it was his birthday and they kept him at home for that day. It would probably also have been more difficult to have that pastime, Lord Brahma taking the cowherd boys and the calves, if Lord Balaram was one of them. It would have been more difficult because Lord Balaram couldn't be tricked so easy. And then the same, Lord Brahma came after. It was exactly 1 year later, and then again Lord Balaram was kept at home because it was his birthday. So, but in between time, Lord Balaram had understood that something special was going on, and he had questioned Lord Krishna about it, and Lord Krishna, in a few words, explained him what happened, what had happened on his birthday. So, so Krishna is the only supreme master, and everybody else is his servant. And these are lessons that we can learn from this pastime. And also that we should understand that no one is independent. And we have this profession which is called indépendant, where you have your own business, and then people like that. People like to be indépendant, to be independent, and in this way. But although they are independent, they are bound in so many ways, by so many laws and by so many things, that they end up being dependent instead of independent. So, yeah, everything is part and parcel of the Lord. And everything what is happening is moving by the supreme desire of the Lord. And so Prabhupada explains in the purport, this is Krishna consciousness, that one should understand that one is not independent. To not be independent is seen in the world as something, as a weakness. But it's not a weakness. To be dependent of Krishna is not a weakness. It's a true understanding of the reality. And fighting against that is like fighting against the fact that the water runs in that direction and you want it to run in the other direction. You can fight, but nothing will change. The water will keep running down, even though you want it or you don't want it. So the reality is that we are not independent. The reality is that we are dependent on the Lord, and we should act according to the desire of the Lord. We should not act independent of that desire of the Lord. So then by the mercy of Krishna, Lord Brahma saw that all the cowboys and calves were incarnations of him. So, and then in the purport of verse 57, there it's written that Brahma was stunned because of transcendental bliss. In his astonishment, all his senses were stunned, and he was unable to say or do anything. Brahma had considered himself absolute, thinking himself the only powerful deity. But now his pride was subdued, and he again became merely one of the demigods. Of course, an important demigod. Brahma is, of course, an important position amongst the demigods. But it was a mistake to take up a challenge with the Lord. There was some pride involved. As we know, with the 10 offenses of the holy name, if we consider that the names of demigods are on the same level as Lord Krishna, then that's a misunderstanding. That means we are not believing in the power of the Lord, of the holy name of the Lord. And the demigod should not be put on the same level as the Lord, which is done, of course, a lot in India, because India they have a lot of mixtures of philosophies. They have some understanding of Krishna consciousness, but there is also a lot of kitchery there, a lot of mixture and misunderstandings, which came down over the generations. But by Srila Prabhupada's teachings, by Bhagavad Gita as it is, he is putting all these things straight. He is putting all these things in line with the reality. But due to the habits, there is a lot, in India, there is still a lot of pujas being done to the demigods, or some demigods taken as the Lord, as the Supreme. But now in this case, Lord Brahma got the realization. He got the understanding. Lord Brahma realized that Krishna, in his form as a coward boy, because then he knew that this little boy is special. It's not that he didn't know that. He knew he was special. But he couldn't understand how a little boy who plays there could be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He knew he was special. It was a special boy. But he couldn't understand how. So that's why he felt like, I have mystic power. This boy has a little power also, but let me challenge him. Let me see that I'm the Lord of the universe here, Lord Brahma. Let me see. Let us see what happens. But he realized now that Krishna is Para-Brahman, is the Supreme Brahman, is the root cause of everything. And he was simply appearing as a small child, playing the pastime of a small child. And the gopis, they are not so much into it, they are just attracted. Krishna is so attractive. That little boy is so attractive to them that they want to be with him. They are not into big philosophy and they are not even into Para-Brahman, you are Para-Brahman. No, that's not, they just are so attracted. That play and that everything Krishna does, the jokes he makes, the demons he kills, the plays he sets up, the leadership he gives to the other, is so attractive for them that they look forward to going out with him to the pasture. They are not missing. They are not missing out there. They want to be there that morning when it's time to go out with the cows, with the calves and the gopas and Krishna. They want to be there with him. They don't want to miss out. That's why it was such a drama for them when Lord Krishna left their association, left Vrindavan. They became, they became like without life, because they were so used to his association, and they were so overwhelmed by his association that they didn't know how to live without his association. And they love Krishna so much and they want to serve Krishna so much because he's such a wonderful boy. So Lord Brahma understood then that and that's why when he came to that realization, as it says in the verse from yesterday, that therefore Brahma's crying was a form of bhaktya anubhava, a transformation of transcendental ecstatic love. So, because Lord Brahma, when he was corrected, he accepted to be corrected. And because he accepted to be corrected, then Krishna was very merciful to him. And that's why he felt, although he had made a mistake, still, although he had made a mistake, he got a mercy of the Lord by ecstatic love. And he was crying for his mistake. He was ready to surrender. He had understood who Krishna was. He had it mistaken, but he was ready to now surrender and to make up for his mistake and to now properly respect Krishna for what he really is. And therefore Lord Brahma had, while crying for his mistake, got ecstatic feelings of love towards the Lord, while crying for his mistake, and he was washing the feet of Krishna with crying. Of course, he has 8 eyes to cry. We have 2. But, so he was crying with its 8 eyes and washing the feet of the Lord by doing so. And he was bowing down. Bowing down is one of these activities which are part of Bhakti Yoga and which are very meaningful, because we are putting our body down at the feet of Srila Prabhupada, or we are putting our body down for the deities, or we are putting our body down for the spiritual master, or for other devotees. That's a very much practice in Krishna consciousness. If you think, there is a number of times in a day, especially when you live in the temple and you participate in the program, there's a number of times that a lot of opportunity to surrender with our body to the spiritual master, to the deities, to the devotees. So Prabhupada, when he met Brahmananda's, I can't remember now if it's his mother or his parents, but he told him to bow down for his parents. Because that enhances the respect. We should have respect for our parents. Of course, our parents should bring us back to Godhead. They are also, in one way, spiritual master. That's how it should be. But in the West, that habit is not at all there of bowing down for the parents. In India, it's part of the culture. There was also in the 90s, there was a singer, Boy George. He had this bow down mister. There was a song with a Maha Mantra in that song also, bow down mister. He was connected somewhat with the devotees, not so much, but a little bit. So, yeah, so bowing down is an important part of our. And Prabhupada said we should physically bow down, because we also have the habit, especially when I'm in Mayapur, devotees do that a lot. You meet each other on the phone, Dandavat Pranam. So, but Dandavat actually means it's like a rod, like lying fully on the floor. But we say it's nothing wrong with saying Dandavat Pranam, because it means you greet the other, you give your obeisances, you surrender to the other person. So it's nothing wrong with saying, but Srila Prabhupada did on some occasions say that it should not just be lip service, it should be the meaning is actually that the body lies down on the floor and surrenders to or give their obeisances to the spiritual master or the devotees, like that. I remember when I was a young devotee and my family came to visit, then I hesitated, shall I bow down when I come in the temple, because what will they think, and all these type of things. But or I let them go in first and then I quickly offer my obeisances and then start talking with them, things like that. But thing is to bow down for the Supreme Personality of Godhead or for the spiritual master is just a very natural. It's just because of our conditioning that we in the West, people don't want to bow down. They think, who are you that I should bow down for you? But that's if we understand a little bit Krishna consciousness and we know what is our aim in this life, to develop love for Krishna, then we have to do whatever is necessary to curb our pride and to become more pure-hearted and more humble. To be more humble than a blade of grass means if somebody steps on you, then you just accept it. So these are our Western education is very much anti-surrender, anti-bow down. Our Western education is to keep our false ego as it is or increase it. But the education for a devotee is the opposite, is to become more humble, to prepare ourselves so that we can go through the door of Vaikuntha or the door of the spiritual world. If our ego is big, then the door will be too small to go through. So we have to cultivate that, and we have to work on that. That surrender and that humility in everything what we do. So here in the purport, this Padyavali 126, it's a verse that Srila Prabhupada quotes here, is from Padyavali. It's Rupa Goswami. He has assembled many verses from many different saints and then put them somewhat in categories. And that is the Padyavali. It's like a garland, just like a garland. It consists of many flowers. Each flower has its own constitution and existence and smell and color and everything. But every flower is beautiful by itself. So Padyavali is like a garland of verses that he has taken, Sri Rupa Goswami has taken from many saints, from many sadhus, and he has compiled it into one book with around 400 verses. That's the Padyavali. And here this verse 126 is one of them. And the translation of that is, let others study the Vedas, Smriti and Mahabharata, fearing material existence, but I shall worship Nanda Maharaj, in whose courtyard is crawling the Supreme Brahman. Nanda Maharaj is so great that the Para-Brahman is crawling in his yard, and therefore I shall worship him. So this is not a verse quoted by Lord Brahma. It's a verse quoted by Srila Prabhupada, but it's very much emphasizes the mood that Lord Brahma picked up after becoming more humble. because he was thinking that he is the greatest. So now this verse says that Nanda Maharaj is even greater, basically, because you know, in the Padyavali it says that Shrutim apare smritim itare bharatam manye bhajam tu bhava vita. So let others study the Vedas, the Smriti, Mahabharat. Let them fear material existence, but I shall worship Nanda Maharaj. Why? Because in his courtyard is the crawling, the supreme Brahman. Lord Krishna is his son, and his mother Yasoda's son. Also, of course, Devaki. But at the same time, the fact is that if the Supreme Personality of Godhead is willing to come and be taking care of them, means they are in a very special position. And it fits Lord Brahma to say these prayers, so to say, because instead of he thinking I'm the greatest of this universe, that, you know, Nanda Maharaj is greater because in his garden comes the Supreme Personality of Godhead and have his pastimes. I want to read a few of other verses from that Padyavali, and then I will end there with that. Mathura is in my ears. So here the topic is the glory of Mathura. Mathura is in my ears. Mathura is in my eyes. Mathura is in my voice. Mathura is in my heart. Mathura is before me. Mathura is behind me. Mathura is sweet. Mathura is sweet. From Sri Govinda Mishra. And then a verse about obeisances to Vrindavan. Go ahead and worship Lord Brahma. Go ahead and worship Lord Shiva. Go ahead and worship the Supreme Brahman. I will not follow you. I will simply worship Vrindavan forest, which brought transcendental delight to Lord Krishna. It's in the same mood as the one we just read now. My respectful obeisances to Nanda Maharaj. His garments are red as a banduka flower. His face is handsome. His chubby form is the golden color of sandalwood paste. His eyes are enchanting by the sight of Lord Mukunda. This is from Sri Rupa Goswami himself. And then one verse from obeisances to Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda holds Lord Pankajanabha Krishna on her lap. Her garments are wonderfully beautiful. Her complexion is the color of a fresh rain cloud. She delights the entire world. I repeatedly offer my obeisances to her. Then one more about Sri Krishna's childhood. Lying on his back, his hands and feet charmingly reddish, and his forehead gracefully decorated with yellow Gorochana tilak markings. Lord Murari violently overturned the cart. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. So we'll stop here. I wanted to read something from the Nectar of Devotion about being stunned, but there is, it's already 7 minutes to 9, and there is a paper here saying breakfast is served at 8:45, so I think we should stop here. Any last comment? Or yes, Kupaswami.
Yeah, you started and finished with ecstatic symptoms, stun, and sort of faltering the voice, like it is said in the verse. So, Lord Brahma, he offered his obeisances with ecstatic symptoms, crying and faltering of the voice and being stunned. So we hear about these ecstatic symptoms. We hear them from in the songs of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur, like that. We know that Srila Prabhupada also expressed some symptoms like that, rarely, but try to remain sober. But we don't see so many others having ecstatic symptoms, you know, crying or faltering of the voice. Of course, we know we don't want to be superficially sentimental, but it's supposed to be the goal, like feeling some outpour of feelings like that. So is it okay that this is not appearing? Is this necessary or okay? Or should we aspire for it, or should we remain behind that? Or
I think we should aspire for it, but it should be real, because Srila Prabhupada was very much against this artificial show of ecstasy, and even in one in a I don't know where it was, but one man was rolling over the floor in ecstasy. And Srila Prabhupada told him, you kick him, and if he reacts, then it means he's not in ecstasy. So the false thing should not be there, the real thing should be there. At the same time, I don't know, I cannot speak much about personal realization on that, because I simply don't have that realization, but I would think that it takes time for Krishna consciousness to go deeper into our society. I think devotees second generation, third generation should be more. I hope, I think, I wish, I pray that will happen, because I mean we have so much. I mean, I was 30 years when I joined, so we have, you know, in that 30 years for that past to not be present at all. It's a big thing, you know, because so that's why at least I have hope for our following generations, and maybe some exceptions also in this generation, but I think there will be more exceptions, but in the future, you see, children are grown up in Gurukul and are, you know, grown up in a Krishna conscious environment and don't have to go through what we all went through, you know, with karmi friends and karmi encounters and boys and girls and messing around. And then it's a different scene, you know. It's a different thing. So I think that's at least that's an element that plays there. But yes, we should. It should be natural. It should be natural that we have sometimes that we are so absorbed in Krishna consciousness that we have at times ecstatic feelings. And Srila Prabhupada, he did the opposite. He was hiding it. He had the feelings, but he did his best to hide it, to not show it. So I think it's a natural thing, and we should cultivate it. We should aim for it, desire it, pray for it. But at the same time, it has to be natural. It has to be real.
If it was a natural thing race, why did Prabhupada hide it? Why did Prabhupada hide it?
Because I think it would, well, I have to speculate there, but I think he didn't want devotees to imitate it. Because there is quite some imitation, even today, present, especially in India, of ecstatic, even in our movement, at some point we have seen a few people, and the devotees who are close to him, they have seen it. It's not that the devotees didn't see it, because he couldn't fully hide it either. But yeah, he did not come up front with it. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Radha Govinda Madhava ki jai, Krishna Balaram ki jai, Shri Nitai ki jai. Oh, Premanande.